Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another 2023 preview and prediction video. Today I'll be starting the Big Ten with the Illinois Illini. So let's get into it. Well, Illinois last year had a very good record of an 8-5 regular season, and they would have had 9 wins if they were able to beat Mississippi State in the bowl game. But they started out the season at 7-1, and would have been 8-0 if they would have beaten Indiana in week 1. But they had a pretty good year. They dropped 3 straight after they beat Nebraska late in the year against Michigan State, Purdue, and Michigan, where they were a field goal miss away from beating Michigan. They beat Northwestern at the end of the year to finish season 7-5 before, or 8-4 before playing Mississippi State, like I said. But very good year for Brett Bielema in his second season at Illinois. If you remember the year before last, they did not make a bowl game, I don't think, and their best win was against Penn State in, I think, 9 overtimes. So not a bad second year for Bielema. So let's see what he's working with here. Well, Illinois, they had, I believe, Garrett Schrader last year. No, Garrett Schrader was at Syracuse. I forget who their starting quarterback was last year, but he wasn't the big name. I believe their big name was Chase Brown at running back. He helped them through a lot of those wins, and it's going to be pretty tough, I think, to replace him. But at quarterback, you have 2 choices. Both transfers, Luke Altmaier coming in from Ole Miss and John Paddock coming in from Ball State, as well as Donovan Leary and Cal Swanson that are going to be fighting for the starting job. At running back, you have Reggie Love, Josh McCray, and freshman Caden Fagan, who are coming in to fight for that starting job. I'm sure that they'll have multiple running backs get reps this year. Wide receiver Casey Washington is the main guy in this offense at receiver, so he's going to be targeted a lot. You also have Pat Bryant and Isaiah Williams, and some freshmen in Malik Elzy and Kenari Wilshire. At tight end, you have Tip Raymond and Griffin Moore, and on the offensive line, the left side of your offensive line is made up of seniors. The center is a redshirt sophomore, and the right guard and right tackle are both sophomores, including a transfer, Desmond Schuster, coming in from JUCO. Now, the offense looks to be pretty solid. They want to have a good offensive line. They want to have a good D-line and run the ball down your throat. That's just the way that Brett Bielema has been since he was at Arkansas and even before then. So on defense, you have a lot of guys that are going to be physical. They're not going to be the most talented guys in the world, but they're going to be very physical under Brett Bielema's system. You have Jerzan Newton, Tayra Edwards, Keith Randolph, Gabe Jacques, Tariq Barnes, Seth Coleman, Tavion Nicholson, transfer Demetrius Hill coming in from FIU, Matthew Bailey, Xavier Scott, and another transfer, Caleb Patterson, coming in from JUCO. So all in all, the roster looks not anything like spectacular, but with Brett Bielema, you know that these guys are going to be playing very hard and very physical. So let's go into the schedule and see what I think Illinois is going to do this year. Well, they start off the year at home against Toledo. Toledo, MAC school, not one of the better MAC schools at that. I think that this is going to be an easy game to see about quarterbacks and running backs and the position groups to get a good handle of how they play in a game. So I think they get a big win here to go to 1-0 before traveling to Kansas, who was another good team last year, in a big non-conference matchup in Lawrence. Well, this is going to be a unstoppable force against an immovable object type of game. Illinois' defense is going to have its work cut out for him against Jalen Daniels and that Kansas offense. And I just don't think this early in the year it's going to be they're going to be able to stop Kansas. I'm high on Kansas this year to an extent. I think they're going to have a similar season to a team like Maryland. They, under their head coach, they've just been a lot better than Kansas has been over the last decade and a half. I think that you drop this one here in prime time in Lawrence and start the season 1-1. After this, you host Penn State, which is a tough game to play coming off of a loss on the road at Kansas. And while I think there's a possibility you could keep this game close, especially with it being at home, I just think with Drew Aller and those two running backs, it's going to be too much for Illinois. So I think Penn State gets the win, but barely. Then you have another tune-up game that you play FAU at home, and I think you get a bit win here before going back on the road to Purdue. Now, Purdue's had some changes this offseason, losing Jeff Brom to Louisville, and they lost Aiden O'Connell to the NFL draft. With Ryan Walters, it's going to be difficult this early to tell if he's going to be a spectacular coach or not, but I think Illinois goes in there and gets I think it's going to be a close win. I think Purdue could be a sneakily decent team this year, so I think you go in there and get a much worked for win. So you're 3-2 before playing Nebraska. Now, Nebraska is looking to have a big season this year, bringing in Matt Rule and bringing in Jeff Sims and all those transfers. I just don't think in year one they're going to be ready to face as physical of a team as you are. So I think that you get a big win against Nebraska get a big win in the Big Ten West over Nebraska to go to 4-2. Then you play at Maryland. Now, this is going to be a tough game as well. Maryland, similar to Kansas, runs a pretty good offense with Taulia Tagovailoa and all those other guys. But I think at this point, with you seeing another high-powered offense, I think Brett Bielema's guys are going to be able to get the win on the road at College Park over a similar team to Kansas. So I don't think you lose both the games to Kansas nor Maryland, but I think you could split them. So if you don't like my choice of picking you to lose to Kansas, then you lose to Maryland. So either way, you're going 1-1 in those games, in my opinion. So you are 5-2 before playing a big Big Ten West matchup right before your bye week against Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin, another new head coach in Luke Fickell, and got the North Carolina offensive coordinator. They got Tanner Mordecai coming in from SMU, as well as another quarterback that's fighting for that job, and you still have Braylon Allen. So I just think that Wisconsin has too much talent to allow Illinois to hang around after halftime in this game, and I think Wisconsin gets a big win over you, so you're 5-3 before the bye week. Then you play at Minnesota. Now, the one thing that helps you here is you have the bye week before playing Minnesota. It's still going to be a tough game with PJ Fleck still being there and everything like that. I do think you get the win with the bye week helping out tremendously to go to 6-3. Then you play Indiana. You're going to be wanting a lot of revenge from last year, where Indiana hosted you early in the year and stole one from you. I think that you come into this game and make a statement against Tom Allen and the Indiana Hoosiers and go to 7-3. Then you play at Iowa. Iowa's going to be an interesting team this year. Iowa still has Kirk Ferentz. They still have Brian Ferentz, at offensive coordinator, but they have Cade McNamara, former Michigan quarterback, as well as Eric All, former Michigan tight end. Now, that may not make a difference, but they're still going to have one of the best defenses in the Big Ten, and I think that you lose this one here. I think that you're just going to be out-physicaled by Iowa, and it's just going to be something that comes out of nowhere. So going to the last week of the year, you're 7-4 playing Northwestern. Northwestern is in the dumpster right now because of the Pat Fitzgerald situation with all that So I think you get a big win here to finish the season 8-4. Not bad. Repeating with 8 wins 2 years in a row for Illinois, that is substantial for a college like in Illinois. I know you would like to go to 9 or 10 wins, but you got to get some more recruiting in there, and you got to use that transfer portal a little bit more. But anyways, I got Illinois going 8-4, and we'll see if that's good enough to win the West. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and Go Dogs.